In a recent video, I showed you how to take the Piotnet add-ons for Elementor and create dynamic forms. Well, thanks to Tim Chard, who emailed me after I released that video, he informed me that you can actually use the plugin for front-end form submission. Now, this is something that we've been taking a look at recently with the ACF videos on building a dynamic business listing. And one of the things lots of people ask for. So this is the form that we're going to create. And as you can see, it allows us to fill out all the business details. Everything is done through the PAFE plugin. Everything is now linked up to our advanced custom fields. And one of the things I'd like to say is the developer of the PAFE plugin is incredibly responsive. And one of the things that I found was that when you wanted to upload a gallery of images, it didn't work in the same way as expected it to. It didn't link it through to the ACF galleries. Chatting to him, he's gone ahead, fixed that, and in the latest update he's brought out today, that's now working. So I want to show you that as well. Now, if you want to find out more about PAFE, all you need to do is head over to wptuts.co.uk/PAFE and you can find out a ton more information. Well, my name is Paul C, this is WPTuts and welcome to the channel where I help you get more from WordPress. If this is your first time on the channel and you'd like to continue learning more, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell notification to be notified every time new content is added every single week. Okay, so let's just jump over the dashboard and let's take a look at how we can create a custom front-end form just like this. Now, this video is a bit of a complimentary video to the business listing website that we recently released. So if you haven't seen that, I'd recommend taking a look at it until the point where we go through and actually create the front-end form submission. Then you can jump over and take a look in this video. I'll leave a link in the description below. But for those who have seen it, let's just recap exactly what we've got. This is my custom post type. So we've got business address, strapline, gallery, telephone, email, and website. The important thing here is the gallery. It needs to be set up in this certain way. We've called it business gallery. We've got the field name. It needs to be set as a gallery type. And what we need to do is return format needs to be image array, not image URL or image ID. I tend to like to upload to the post, but if you want to upload this to your normal media library, you could set it to all, whichever one you want. And obviously you can set the maximum number of files that you want to upload and anything like file types and so on. So there's the basics. That's all set up. Now, once we've done that, the next thing we need to do is create a custom page that'll have our form inside it. So we're going to come over, we're going to say add new. We're going to call this add business, and we're just going to save that. Now, you can see a couple of things on here like WPUF lock user and so on. I still have the WordPress user front-end form submission plugin installed. Don't worry about that. You won't see that if you don't have it installed. So what we're going to do is we're going to say publish this. So we've got our page created. Then we can open up Elementor and start building things out. So let's just open Elementor up. With Elementor open, let's just scroll down until we can see the PAFE plugin section. So we've got a couple of things on here. We're interested in the field and the submit. Now you may be thinking, well, there's not a lot there we can do. Well, the nice thing with this is we can use the field widget and do whatever we want. We're not going to be using the normal Elementor form builder. We're going to create this directly inside PAFE. So first thing we need to do is just drag over our first field. So what we're going to do with these is we're going to link these up to their corresponding ACF fields. Now, it might sound quite complicated, but once you get into it, it's an incredibly simple process. There's just simply two stages to it. There's creating the field and setting the parameters. Then there's adding the submit button into it and then telling it what you want the submit button to do. So I'm going to show you a couple of the different form fields we're going to put in. Then I'm going to quickly fly through that. Then I'll show you how the submit button works and how we link everything together. Okay. First thing we're going to do is go through and link this up. This is going to be our first field. This is going to be our business name field. So this is a default normal WordPress field. So the first thing we're going to do is give it a form ID and we're going to call this new biz. I'm going to copy that from there because we're going to use this on everything that we do. So the field ID required is going to be the right field name for a typical title field. So we know what that's going to be. It's going to be title. So once you do that, you can see we get a shortcode underneath automatically generated based upon the field ID, and that's perfectly fine. Type is text because this is going to be the title for our business, the normal WordPress. Once you've done that, we're going to come down, we're going to drop in a placeholder, and we're going to say business name. You can see we want to set this to be required. We don't want a default value on there, and we don't need any conditional logic. So there's our first part done. So there's our first field. Next, we do the same thing again. We're going to come back over, scroll down to the bottom, drag and drop another field in there, put that underneath, and this one now is going to be our featured image. So we're going to go through the same process again. First thing we want to do is come in and give this the same name for the form ID. Next up, we're going to call this featured, which is the name that we're going to use for our featured image. We're going to set this to be an image upload. So you'll see once we do that, And you can see we've got a ton of different options you can choose from here. We're going to choose image upload. That will then change that to the image upload format, and we then can just drop in the label that we want, which is going to be featured image. So we've got show label, that's perfectly fine. Multiple files, no, because there's only one featured image we want in there. We want to set this to required, and we want to drop in the required mark so people can see that it's something they have to put into this particular section of our site. So next, we want to put in the actual content area. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back over. Now we can do if we want, we can go back into the left hand side and keep on doing this, or we can just simply come over, duplicate any of these fields and then just change their format, name and so on. Just speeds up the process of what we're doing. So next up, we need to put in the actual content area for the business description. So we'll leave the form ID as new biz. Next up, we're going to change the form ID and we're going to call this description. Change that from image upload, we're going to call this, you can use text area if you want to restrict people from only putting in clean plain text. However, if you want to, you can put in the tiny MCE editor so we get a more feature rich sort of layout on there. Change this from featured image and we'll put this down as business description. Show label, yep, that's perfectly fine. Required, yep, we leave that, and required mark, and again we don't want any conditional logic. Now this might not update in real time, but once you save the form out, it'll go through and it'll sort of save things out. Now I'm going to show you some of the key things you need to do, but you can obviously then just duplicate what I'm kind of doing for a lot of these other things. Now, we're using a taxonomy for various different parts of this particular sort of section. We're going to have a business type, which is going to be things like web design, art supplies, coffee shops, and so on. We're going to have business location, which we're going to use then to allow people to filter, which, like I say, if you've seen the business listing website that we did recently, you'll see this all kind of becomes a lot clearer. So what we need to do is we're going to drop in, we're going to duplicate this field. So we're going to duplicate that again. This is our new field. We're going to just go through and change the details now. So we want to change this to business type. So we're going to say field ID business underscore type. So this is the name that I've given that particular taxonomy is business underscore type. I'm just keeping that so I know exactly what's going on. Shortcode, you can see again, pre-fills that out. What we need to do is change this now from type. We want this to be a select sort of option. So we're going to come down, we're going to choose select, or term select, I should say. Once we've done that, you can see at the moment it says uncategorized because it's automatically pulling in what it thinks is right, which is going to be the taxonomy slug of category, which is the default that you have inside WordPress itself. However, we don't want that. We want to use this as business underscore type. You'll see once we do that, a couple of seconds, and it'll then go through and it'll update the information on there for us. Now, this is actually on a live server, so this isn't being done locally, so it's a little slower than you'd normally expect it to be because, like I say, I'm working with live data over a live connection. If you want to, you can make multiple select an option. I'm going to leave that unchecked for now. I only wanted to choose one business type just for the simplicity of this. I'm going to duplicate this one more time, and I'm going to show you the same thing again. So we're going to change this over now. Let's just jump back to that. We don't say business description. We want to change that to business type, just so we've got the label correct on there. And on the next, oh, wrong one. Let's change that to business type, I should say. And then this next one is going to be business location. And all we need to do is change that taxonomy slug from business type to business location. And again, like I say, give it a couple of seconds and you should find then it'll update to anything we've got stored in those custom taxonomies. So we've now created a range of different things. We've created a link to the normal WordPress title, the featured image and the description. We've also created links through to our taxonomy so we can have those and categorize our data. Just let me show you one more thing we can put in, which is just going to be something that's a normal standard ACF field. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to duplicate this. Once we've duplicated that, let me just check I've got all the data correct in here. I need to just change that from business type to business location. So it's worthwhile going back and checking as you create more complex forms that you're putting all the right data in, you double check to make sure everything is in place exactly as you need it to be. Okay, so let's just change this now from the back to a normal text block. I'm going to change that from business type to business underscore address. Now, where am I getting these names from, you might be asking? Well, these are the custom ACF field names or the meta field names that we've got assigned. So I always prepend everything with business underscore something, just so I know exactly what I'm working with. This is a business listing, it's a business entry, so all my custom fields relate to businesses, so business underscore address, business underscore strapline, business underscore telephone, and so on and so forth. Just means that things make a lot more sense later on down the line. Okay, so just checking, business address is fine, the short code is fine, text field type is fine, just need to change the label to business address, and everything is looking pretty good. So I'm going to quickly fly through the last couple of these, making sure everything is double checked at the end of it. Then I'm going to show you one more thing, which is a slightly different thing we're going to do, which is to link it through to the gallery inside ACF so we can have a gallery of images. Okay, so let's put our last field in now, which is going to be this gallery field. So what I'm going to do is grab the field option again, drop that underneath there. Form ID we know is going to be new biz. The field required for this example is business_gallery. The type is image upload. So we're going to come down to there and we're going to say image upload. Don't use file upload because it's slightly different. Say image upload. The label, we can put whatever we want in there. I'm going to leave that as is for now. And then what we're going to do is say multiple files required. We're going to leave that out. And once we've done that, we've now got pretty much everything we need in place. So I've gone through, inserted all the relevant fields. Now we need to go through and just set things up with that button to be able to actually submit our data and then link that through to the ACF fields. So let's just scroll down underneath our last field. We're going to come back over to the left-hand side to our widgets, come down to our submit button, drop that in there. And this is going to look very familiar when you've been working with Elementor Pro and the normal form fields. A lot of the functionality is the same. We can say what we want to do after submit. We can set up multiple different things in there. We can also do things like Stripe payments and things. So there's quite a lot of really cool things. We're going to keep this fairly straightforward for this video. We're just going to link it through those ACF fields and the WordPress fields. We're going to upload everything and then we're going to put it into a state of being pending just to make sure that it's confirmed before it actually goes live on the site. Okay, so with this button selected, we need to now go through and just set up and link various different things together. So let's just change things over. So the form we know is going to be new biz. If you want to, you can set the basic type for styling and so on. It's set up to you. I'm just going to set this to justified and I'm going to say submit business, just so people know exactly what they're doing. And we'll set that to be medium. Okay, so action after submit. We're going to click on there. And we're going to see that we've got, by default, it says email. We don't want it to do that straight away. So we're going to get rid of that. And from our options, we're going to come down and we're going to say submit post. Once we do that, you can see we now get the submit post option. And this opens up a lot of different things. So let's open that up. And you can see it looks very simple to start off with. And it is very simple. It's just a repetitive process to make sure that everything is linked together. So first things first, post type. What do we want to submit it to? Well, at the moment it says posts, which is not what we want. We want to link this through to our custom ACF custom post type. Click on there, we're going to scroll down and we're going to find businesses, which is our custom post type. Then we've got the terms, and then we've got the post status and some other things. So post status, we're going to set that to be pending. So when this is submitted and added into the database, that particular new business listing is going to be placed into pending, and then we'll have an email sent out to the moderator of the site who will then be going in and just checking to make sure everything is in order, and then they can activate and publish that as and when ready. Then you've got the post URL. We're going to leave that as is. You've got your title field, your content field, and your featured image field. Now these three are incredibly important. These are the three fields that are WordPress default fields. The title is the very first one, which we've called business name, but it is the title. We click on there, you can see we've set this to have a field ID of title, business description of description, and then if we scroll to the featured image, we've got featured. So we need to make a note of those different names, and then on the submit button, we need to input those in the relevant sections. So we know title field is called title, we know content is called description, and we know featured image is just called featured. Now you can name these whatever you want, but as long as whatever you name those fields, you drop into these three areas inside the submit post option, then we know that you've got everything set up right. Then the custom fields. You can see it says post custom fields, which is not what we want. We've used advanced custom fields for this. Click ACF is another option. So we're going to click on ACF. It now knows that we're going to go through and add terms in that are going to link specifically to custom fields that we've created directly inside ACF. Hope that makes sense. Let's go through and set things up. So the first thing we need to do is come back up to the terms section, and we need to do a couple of things in there. First of all, what are the terms? Well, the terms are basically this business type and business location. So we need to just link those through so it knows where to put those. So let's say add item, term is fine. Category post, we don't want that, we want business type. So that's the first one. Term slug, we're going to come in there. We know that the ACF business slug type is business_type. Again, like I say, using that convention just so I know exactly what's going on. Then we've got the term field, or the term select field ID. Sounds complicated. It's not really complicated. You'll see that every single time we create any kind of custom field, we'll have this format set up, which is brackets field ID equals business type, which is the name that we give it the term slug. If you're ever unsure, or you just want to make sure everything is perfect, all you need to do is come up, click on the form element that you've got there that you want to sort of link through. There's the shortcode. You simply copy that shortcode. So we just copy that, come back down to our button, and just drop that into our term. So we're just making sure we'll select that, drop it in there. So we now know that's perfect. The term slug and the field ID, the shortcode, are all in place. Again, I really hope this makes sense, because it does come across as being quite complicated. It's just repetitive. It's just making sure that you link those terms, those taxonomy terms in the relevant section, and also when we go through and insert the custom fields, that you just link everything up using the right names. That's it. That's all it is. Do that one more time. So we're going to add another item. Going to choose this. It's going to be business location. We know that the term slug is business underscore location. Again, we can come back for that terms and that field ID. So all we need to do is come over to our business location, click to activate it, copy this little short code block. Now what I would probably recommend is, if you've got a long form, this can get quite laborious. I would just recommend having a text file that has all these references in there. You can just copy and paste back and forth between them all then. Just becomes a lot quicker and a lot easier. So back down to our button, back into our term, drop in the actual code in there, and we are done. Our terms are now linked up. Business type, business location are done. Scrolling down, we've now got add items. This is for our custom fields. So we're going to do the same thing again. Add an item, our custom field slug, field ID, and the field type that we're going to use. So the first thing we've got is going to be the business address. So all we need to do is copy that over. There's our business address, our short code for that, exactly the same as before. So you can see it's the field ID equals, and then the actual name itself. And again, all you need to do is click on that relevant form element and copy this information over, and then just tell it, what is this custom field type? So you can see text is perfectly fine because our business address is a text entry. I'll do this one more time, and then I'll quickly run through the rest until we get to the gallery one at the end, and I'll show you how we set that up slightly differently. So again, just add an item in there. This time we're going to go through and we're going to put in the business strapline. So again, we'll just simply take that slug, which is going to be the ACF slug field. Then we're going to take the shortcode that's automatically generated inside the PAFE plugin. And then finally, just making sure that our text or our field type is set correctly. So I'm going to go through, do the last couple of these, and then like I say, I'll just come back and show you how we do this for the gallery, because it's a little different. Okay, so all those fields are now in there. So let's just go through and do the very, very final one. So add an item again. Again, we're going to drop in the slug. We're going to drop in the field ID. But the thing we need to do at the bottom now, it says custom field type. If you use ACF, click on there. We're going to choose gallery, because this is going to be a gallery of images. So it now knows how to format that data to make sure everything is in place the way we want it to be. And that's how we set things up. So we've created our form. If we want to go back now and add in extra things that happen after our submit, so like I say, we may want to send an email to someone, well, we can just simply come back in here. We can say email. And once we've done that, we'll open up the email option, at which point we can go through and we can set anything we want inside there. I'm not going to do that because I'm sure you're already familiar with how to do that as just a normal form inside Elementor itself. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. So let's just get rid of this. So we say after submit, we'll get rid of that email. And like I say, you can have this do whatever you want. So once we've done that, we're going to hit update. And then that now should be created. So we've created everything we want. So let's jump over now and take a look at what happens when we've created this form and how it all works. Okay, so let's just fill out some data. We've created our form, everything is set up. I've styled it a little bit so it looks nice. So we're just going to call this Wibble Ink. We're going to add a featured image, and we'll just drop a picture of me in there because I'm really, really sort of narcissistic. We'll say then, what's the business type? We're going to say this is web design and it's based in Cardiff. We'll drop in a description. There we go, spell that correctly. Business address, we'll just say Cardiff. Business strapline, business telephone number, business email. This is really exciting stuff. And then we'll put the business address at the end, the email address I should say, or website address. Okay, and then we've got the images. So all we need to do is simply go through choose the images in the same way. So we'll just choose this one and we'll choose this one. Just hold in the control key so I can group select. Let that update those a second. Once that's done, we can just hit submit business. Okay, there we go, submit business. And because we haven't set any actions up after the form submit, like a redirect or a thank you page or anything, we're just going to get this little message at the bottom that says the form was sent successfully. But you can set this up in any way that you so desire. Come back out of here, exit back to our dashboard. And if we go back to take a look at our businesses and we say all businesses, we'll see now that our new entry, Wibble Inc., is in there, set as pending. And if we come in and take a look at it, we'll see that all of the information is all set out in there, including our business type, business location, our gallery of images uploaded. Everything is set up in there. So all we need to do now is go through and publish this to say that it is a fully working, fully set up business and we're happy with everything. That's really how simple it is. It's just repeating the same process of linking those fields to the button, and then you've got everything set up. Now, obviously, if you want to go further with this, you could easily set this up to be a case that it only shows when someone's logged in, so they can't access the page without having an account. If you want to set this up to be paid for, well, you could link it through to Stripe and so on. It's maybe someone will take a look at later on, should you want me to. So if you want me to go through and show you how to do those things, leave a comment below and just say you'd like to learn more about how you can use this feature, how you can link it through to things like payments, how you can hide it from people that are not logged in, and so on. Now, I think PAFE is an incredibly underutilized plugin, something that many people know about, but does get a lot of great feedback the people that use it. And I'm really beginning to see why they're saying it. The more I use it, the more I realize how many great little features there are in there and how insanely cheap this is. It's something like $70 for a lifetime sort of copy of this, a lifetime license on unlimited sites. That's just insane. For the power you have, just even for this form builder, the dynamic forms, it's worth every cent. I'll say penny because obviously I'm in the UK, but we'll say cent for our US sort of visitors and viewers. So if you want to see more, let me know in the description below. If you want to check out more about using this plugin, take a look at the video you can see on screen right now. If you want to learn more about advanced custom fields and getting more out of WordPress, take a look at the playlist that's on the side now and also in the description. My name's been Paul C. This has been WPTuts. Until next time, take care.